Rainbow the Hippocampi is not in this franchise. He's in the Percy Jackson franchise.
I'm talking colors.
I know. I just wanted to make the joke.
That's fair. I'm talking about something that truly doesn't really impact my life that often. Also, like, a comedian that I love and a podcaster that I love, Adam Mamawala, has a joke about this. But he's just like, colorblindness is unlike any other disability, because, like, you don't walk up to someone else and they're like, prove it. Whereas, like, I'll tell someone I'm colorblind and their first reaction is just, oh, what color is this? It's like, you don't do that to somebody else.
The Lego Harry Potter,
You don't walk
everyone.
up
That
to
was
somebody in a wheelchair and just go, prove you can't stand.
That's a jerk. Just don't be a jerk, everyone. Don't be a jerk. If someone has a disability, don't be a jerk. What's up, everyone? My name is Stephen Nieman.
And I'm Ankit Madhira.
And welcome back to Flip the Scripts.
Hello.
Hello. We're really excited. We're doing the last episode of the Hunger Games franchise.
I'm so happy to be done with this franchise.
It's been, what, 12 episodes now? 12? No, 5 films, 10.
I don't know. I've lost track.
I made Ankit go a little crazy with Hunger Games.
I just want to be done.
He just wants to move on. Why are there
so many?
So
anyway, hello, ladies and gentlemen. How are you doing?
Yeah,
I hope
with
you're
the
doing
prequels
well on this lovely Friday. If you're listening to this on the day that it comes out,
as you know, this is a part 2. And in the part 2s, I always start with a question for Ankit. I believe we started this kind of cool question thing back with Sea of Monsters, right?
Don't remind me of that
Hunger Games
film.
1?
I don't know.
Okay.
Don't remind me of those.
Fair. So this is a question that I have. This is a question I have for Ankit. It's really interesting, I think. It would make him maybe make him upset because we spent so much time in the Hunger Games world. If you had to choose either this book to get a sequel, so continuation of Snow where he's at the end of the book to like what we know of the Hunger Games. So the 63 years between, right?
Sure.
Or pick another character in the franchise to have a book about that introduces them, that tells their whole backstory so we can get to know them better. So another prequel, but about a different character. Which one would you choose? And if you choose the one with another character, what character?
I want a sequel to this.
You want a sequel to this?
I want a sequel to this.
Okay.
Because I think the sequel, you don't need to focus on the games. And I think that's what makes a sequel to this very enticing, potentially, is that you don't have to focus on the games at all. You know the games exist, they're there, but you don't have to see a single games. Rather, you see, how did Snow rise to power? How did he get from university student, spoiler alert, ladies and gentlemen, for the end of the film and the end of the book, sorry, but how does he get from university student to getting to president to then keeping the power? Because we learn in Mockingjay that Snow's poison of choice, per se, like his way to keep power and gain power, is poison. Yeah. And we see that in this book as well. But it's like, what did he have to do? Who did he have to poison? What are the secrets that Finnick knows? That, like, how did Snow get put into those positions? Why did he have to take the poison to then take the antidotes? Like, who did he have to prove? What did he have to do? I think it could be a very, very interesting book to see his rise to power and how he keeps power, not necessarily even focusing on the games much. They're an aspect of it, sure. Like, it's hard to not have it be an aspect of it, but we don't have to know any tributes names. We don't have to know who won any of the games. other than like the ones that maybe we already know, or like if they're pulling it in, like, you know, how it's like, okay, what did Snow do to keep Haymitch under his power? He killed his entire family. So like if something
Yeah.
like that is brought up, I think that could be very interesting. But you don't have to look at the games. I want it to be more of a political book of like, how did he get to the point of being the president? Because it's understood that he's been the president for a very, very long time, but I don't think it's ever stated how long he was president.
True. So I agree with you completely. I think a sequel to this book would be really interesting, and I'd be really fascinated to see that route.
Oh, there's one other thing, but I'll let you finish of what I want to see in that as well.
There's one more character who I'd really love a prequel book about. Because I think in the book, they aren't as explored as I want them to be. And I would like to explore them, especially since they die in the last book. And that would be President Alma Coin.
Oh. Nah, she's a bitch.
I just want to.
I know everything I need to know about her. I'd rather learn about Snow and his rise to power.
I'd like to explore 13 a bit more from a different perspective, and growing up in 13, what was that like post-war and all that stuff. And
if we're doing that, I'd rather have a story about Boggs, not Alma Coin.
What made Alma Coin so power hungry? I mean, yeah, Boggs would be dope. I'd take a story about Boggs.
Like, I'd rather have Boggs and figure out like his life story, not Alma Coin. Like, come on, we already know enough about her. Like,
we know nothing. Fair. Moving on. Okay, cool. So we have Ankit wants a sequel of this book. So he wants Songbird and Snakes 2. Although the Songbirds, quote unquote, we don't know about. Spoilers. So Snakes 2.
No. I think the title would be something along the lines of like, the venom of the snake.
Oh. Hey, Suzanne Collins, hire Ankit.
Hi.
Hi. Okay,
can I play a character?
Let's go back into the film, back into the Hunger Games. So,
where are we?
So the games have just started. Marcus is hanging on a thing, and you know, this lovely Sejanus went, "Ya monsters!" and threw a chair and ran out like a petulant child. and the whole fight started, and there's only 13 tributes left, and that's where we ended the episode. So
beautiful.
What we're gonna say, we'll cut out most of the things we want to complain about, but I think let's say it now because then we could just skip ahead. When they went into the tunnels, they said, "Oh, we have cameras in the tunnels." That's not true in the book. They do not have cameras in the tunnels. They do not see anything in the tunnels. They only see what's in the arena. That was a misstep by the Capitol. Oops. They didn't think they can get into the tunnels.
But also, no. It wasn't a misstep.
Oh, yeah.
But because the bombs went off.
True.
They were never supposed to be able to get into the tunnels.
No, but that's what I mean. So they didn't have the camera set up in the tunnels to have that happen.
And apparently they didn't have the time to set it up, even though they delayed the games by like a week.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The other thing is, we never see the inside of the games in the book. We watch the games from Coriolanus Snow's perspective from Heavensby Hall.
Plutarch, hello.
Hi, Plutarch. Yeah, Plutarch. Like Plutarch's last name keeps getting said. I was like, wow, your family does go deep rooted in the Capitol. I didn't realize how deep rooted they were.
Yeah. I'm assuming that it's like his dad or his uncle or someone.
Oh, the one who's in the one who's in his class.
Yeah, I'm thinking that is Plutarch's dad. Or
I like it if it's Plutarch's dad.
Guess. Yeah, I think Plutarch's dad is probably the one that's in Snow's class.
Sounds good to me. So we don't see any of the games. So the stuff that happens to Lucy Gray being a main character for like 10 minutes of the movie to 30 minutes of the film, we're going to ignore that because it's not from the book.
Sorry, Rachel Ziegler.
Sorry,
I don't know how to
Rachel.
pronounce her last name.
Ziegler?
Sorry,
Ziegler?
Rachel.
Yeah, sorry, Rach. So
her name is Rachel. At least give her that amount of respect.
fine.
Don't call her Rach. She hasn't given you permission to call her Rach.
So they're watching Louisa on screen. She has an axe. She climbs on top above Marcus. She finishes him off for him and then cuts him down, and he falls to the ground. And so Marcus now is dead. 12 tributes remain.
That does happen in the book.
That does happen in the book, and I'm glad they kept it. There's supposed to be I said here there's supposed to be a big Pan Am flag behind him, but they decided not to do it. Fine.
Yeah, well, I mentioned it in the last episode, but if anyone doesn't remember, because that came out a week ago, and I don't know when you're listening to this.
Yeah.
So it might have been a very simple thing, because we do see the flag later on. It could have been a very simple thing of a safety issue when they rigged up the situation to hoist Marcus up in the air. Then it's very possible that like the safety guys were like, hey, we can't have anything hanging behind it because then it'll cause safety issues. So then they just decided, all right, we'll put the flag in a different part of the arena as to avoid safety concerns. Fair enough.
So the first day of the games ends pretty eventful. Luisa's on top of the thingy.
Structure thingy that, yeah.
That doesn't exist, but is another structure in the film. In the book, it's
no, that
exists. I think it's just a different kind of structure in the book. I don't know what it's called in the book, but I don't feel like... Okay, whatever. She's on top of it. We understand that. And other people can't get there easily. So she's kind of safe. She's getting all of her lovely drone program stuff. They're not as bad as they are in the film.
No, they are that bad in the book. They get better. They get better later on. But the first one is accurate to what they show in the film, where it's supposed to come to her, but then it doesn't slow down for her to be able to catch it, so she has to duck, and then the water spills, and then people like start complaining. I don't remember who starts complaining, but someone starts complaining, going, hey, that was someone's hard-earned money that then, they wanted to send her water, so like that's unfair, not to the tribute. They weren't worried about it being unfair to the tribute. They were like, that's unfair to the capital citizen that provided the funds to send that water. So then they do send her a replacement bottle, which we don't see in the film. But this is like an ongoing problem that does happen.
So Snow spends the night in the arena, and
which doesn't happen until later in the games.
Yeah, so Snow's supposed to go home, and he runs into Ma, and Ma, in the book, he runs into Ma, and Ma's like, my son's missing, and
Oh, for context, ladies and gentlemen, Ma is Ma Plinth. I don't think we've explained that.
Ma Plinth, Sir Janus is missing, oh no. And Gaul wakes him up in the film and is like, hey, Sir Janus is in there, spreading crumbs on Marcus. Get your butt in there and get him out.
My favorite part is that she's also like, what a waste of food.
Literally. Because they spread breadcrumbs in District 2 to honor to send food with them to the afterlife. It's a thing in District 2.
Yeah. But I like that they kept the line in despite, I think in the book, it's Grandmam's line.
It is Grandma's line. Also, Ma and Corio get called by Gaul and both show up to the arena, and then he's told he has to go in. So it's a bit different, but fine. We're still at the same spot. So Snow gets sent into the arena to get Sejanus, and Snow is not wearing body armor or any protection. He has no weapons, no nothing. In the book, he actually has body armor and is protected. Because why would you send somebody in unprotected?
Because he needs to learn a lesson.
No.
But he needs to learn a lesson.
They go in. He saves Sejanus. It's this big moment. It's a lot crazier in the book. They're running. They're trying to escape. Sejanus gets injured. They try to take Marcus's body out of the arena as well. They fail that.
They cut that in the film.
That's book only. Corio gets stabbed. Sejanus breaks his kneecap, I believe, or hurts his leg in some way.
No, he gets stabbed in his calf.
That's right. As they both try to go under the fence, which isn't what happens in the
Yeah, no,
is
they
like,
just yeet themselves over the turnstiles.
exactly. So Bobbin comes after him, and Bobbin gets killed by Snow. So Snow takes his first life on TV, and bloody murders him. It reminded me of the scene that they cut from the film in the last film, Mockingjay Part 2, where Snow was supposed to beat, well, in Mockingjay, just the book, where Snow's supposed to beat the crap out of PETA.
Yeah.
So it just, it connects to that moment that we never got to see from a film adaptation.
Fair. One thing I did want to mention about this whole sequence is that the conversation that Sejanus and Snow have inside the arena when Snow is trying to convince him to leave the arena and get out, you can do more, help for them out. They did a really good job of keeping that very accurate to the book. Like, that conversation was accurate to the book. And I think the actors both did a good job with that scene as well.
Yeah. I did miss one part of the film that I really wanted to just mention really quick, because Dean Highbottom's also in this scene. Earlier in the film, just like at the end of the Games of the Night, Dean Highbottom comes over and tells Snow he'll make sure he doesn't see a dime. Again, they're making Dean Highbottom this like antagonist, but making it so obvious of what Dean Highbottom's trying to do instead of subtle. It's a Peter Dinklage effect, but they're giving him really stupid dialogue to say.
Again, I'm all for more Peter Dinklage, but at least make it worth his time.
So they get out.
And I haven't even seen Game of Thrones.
Oh, I love Game of Thrones. We could do Game of Thrones for our podcast. If you want
No,
Game of Thrones for our
I told you I don't want to be sad and depressed by the time I get to season 8.
But it's only four seasons or actual books, so you don't have to watch the rest of them.
But then I'd be invested, Steven.
Okay, fair. So moving on. So they get out, and he's killed Bobbin, and they're being chased by Choreo and the gang. And then Choreo actually talks to Snow. It's like, I'm going to kill your little songbird, Snow. And I'm like, you don't even know. It was just a really weird conversation that just didn't need to happen.
It doesn't make sense.
And his dad was there also. So Plint's dad shows up, who he's not there in the book because he doesn't know about the situation. But this is what leads to the Plinth Prize. This action that Sejanus took, going into the arena, leads to him promising the Plinth Prize to whoever wins the game. So from that moment on, that is when Coriolanus decides, oh no, I have to win. Because if I'm not going to get the university prize because I have a demerit and I don't trust Dean Highbottom, I have to get the Plinth Prize.
Mm-hmm. This is when it's important, about a third of the way into the book.
So
close to half.
We cut back to day 2 of the games, and Lucy finally steps out to get is being chased by Jessup, who has rabies, and they hit him with water. This is supposed to be like day 4 or day 5 or something. I feel like it's a very uneventful 4 days leading into this.
It's like day 3. Like, she doesn't show up, and Coriolanus is starting to freak out because he's like, I can't send her water, I can't send her food if she doesn't come out, because the drones don't have the capability to go into the tunnels.
So Choreo sends water to her to prevent what's his name?
No, he originally sends her water for dehydration.
No, true, but
he just sends her water.
Who's the guy who has rabies?
Oh, Jessup.
Yeah, so Jessup's afraid of water. If you don't know, if you have rabies, it causes you an extreme fear of water. It's a huge thing. His Lysistrata, who's next to him, is Jessup's mentor.
We remembered her name!
Yeah, Lysistrata.
Yeah, we were forgetting a lot last episode.
I know. She sends a bunch of water at him. Only one in the film, but in the book she sends a bunch after him to end his life as merciful as possible, because with rabies he's done.
Yeah, and here's the thing, is that in the book, and this is one change that I didn't like. I didn't like this change. In the book, Coriolanus is ready to deplete all of his money to save Lucy Gray by sending as many things of water as he can. And Lysistrata says, no, let me do it. He's gone anyway. Keep her alive. If Jessup can't win, I want her to win. and
Yeah.
she sends it. Whereas in the film, Coriolanus is like, you have to do this, like, do this now. Like, it's not like he is willing to sacrifice all the money that he has. And I think, like, you miss out on some character development there, where it's like, you know, you see that, like, no, he does truly love this girl. Like, he wants to save her life. It doesn't matter the cost. He needs to keep Jessup away. But then it also shows, you know, Lysistrata is just a good person in, like, capital terms, but, like, a good person in the sense of, like, no, like, if my person can't win, like, you should win. I'm out anyway. Like, he's done with rabies. Let me deplete it. So
he then goes to send food and water to her, but he doesn't, and she gets surrounded by 4 people and almost dies. And then he sends in the drones to save her. Again, he should have got in major trouble for this, but he doesn't get into any trouble for that. Where
also,
in the book,
none of this happens in the book.
I know, in the book, he just sends her food and water, and she goes hides again. At the same time, they go kill Louisa, who's on top, and they do end up killing her, but they end up killing both the tributes from the same district. There's also supposed to be 2 people who are walking around the arena taking the drones as they come down to try to use them against the other tributes. But that was also cut from the film.
Mm-hmm.
So Corio kills Tanner. I believe Tanner is supposed to be one of the last.
Corio kills Tanner?
Yeah.
Coral.
Sorry, I wrote it as Coral, but I misspelled it. Sorry. Coral kills Tanner. My bad.
I was like, Snow was chilling in the weird Retros 50 game room.
Yeah.
With the TVs.
So Coral kills Tanner, which is weird because I believe Tanner's supposed to be the last few to survive.
One of the last ones.
So it's just weird to me, the change. So then Woovie pops out. They go to chase her. And also rat poisoned water thing happened. She walks out. This is not in the book. She poisons a bunch of water bottles. She poisons one water bottle, then spills out all the others. There is rat poison in a water bottle, and somebody does drink it, but that is her.
It's all off camera. None of it is seen. Camera.
Yeah. So Dill walks in. Dill drinks it and dies. She had tuberculosis. She was on her way to death anyway.
Yeah.
Then Reaper finds her.
Actor who played Dill. Nice job with the death scene.
Yeah, good job. Then Reaper finds her. Buddy. Reaper starts setting up his morgue. Now the morgue is supposed to be in like the announcement box, like way above. For some reason, they decide to put it down below, and he still grabs the flag and covers them with it. Everyone gets really mad about it.
Everyone in the Capitol.
Yeah, everyone in the Capitol gets really mad.
I did like how he was like, "What are you gonna do? Kill me?" or something along those lines. Yeah, I was like, so
Reaper starts taunting the Capitol. I don't like this. I mean, I like the lines, but I don't like the change. I like the idea that Reaper's a very silent, stoic character who all the time in this games just kept picking up people's dead bodies and making a morgue. Like, he took it as his full responsibility to make sure that these people had not a humiliating death, but like an honorable one.
Yeah, and he didn't actually kill that many people in the game. I mean, granted, there were only 13 people to start with.
He didn't kill anyone.
I thought he had 1 kill.
Maybe.
And it was because someone... I thought it was... I thought he had 1 kill. I might be mistaken. But I thought he had 1 kill, but it was only because someone went after him.
You might be right. It was a very, We'll say Reaper has 1 kill to his name. So
sure.
Then Gaul interrupts it with a TV message and goes, Felix Ravenstill is dead. And everyone's like, oh no, the president's son. For context, this is the dead.
President's son. Yeah.
Oh, I just said it. Yeah, my bad. And I didn't know what you were going to say and I was going to say, and whoops. Telepathy,
we're doing
everyone.
Great, ladies and gentlemen. We're doing
India
great.
India to Los Angeles.
Woo! Oh yeah, listeners. For anyone that is confused, I am currently in India as we are recording this episode.
So then Gaul is like, "I'm going to destroy them with rainbow of death," and instantly Snow's like, "Oh crap! They're gonna drop the snakes into the arena."
Which I will say, fantastic line.
I mean, it's probably the first time a character's actually been smart on screen. Oh, that's all I'm saying. Him actually figuring it out. So he rips out his stitches to go to Dr. Gall to get more stitches because she's the one who stitched him up after he got sliced when he went to the arena last time. And
whereas in the book, this is not the case. In the book, after he gets stitched up by Gall after the whole Sejanus incident, Gall just tells him, come back in like 2 days and like I'll check up on you, kind of like just as a checkup, like come in and like I'll take a look and like, you know, maybe redo some stitches or whatever. Like it was a planned, scheduled meetup. It wasn't a I'm gonna rip a stitch out to then run and go see Dr. Gall.
So she has the thing. He runs into people he runs there just to drop a handkerchief that he has Lucy's DNA to put it in the snake pit, which it's very action-packed, it's very big, it's very adventurous. It's a big change in the book. It's a lot more accidental. Well, not accidental, but it's more like he just didn't mean to do it. He ran into 2 people who were moving the snake pit. He had a feeling they were going to move him to the arena, so he drops the handkerchief that has Lucy's DNA into it and just hopes.
Yeah, like he actively chose to drop it, but he just kind of stumbled upon the snake pit. It wasn't like a premeditated thing of like, I need to go jump and like try to get this handkerchief into the snake pit. Also, I was watching this scene, and my aunt was watching this scene with me, because she was moving in and out of the room as I was watching this. And at this moment, how did the 2 people standing right next to the snake pit not see Snow run to the snake pit, push the handkerchief in, and then run away?
Movie magic? I'm not saying it was smart.
This is the type of things that I notice on post finale.
I mean, this is true. I mean, you're not wrong. You're completely correct. Okay, so moving on. So Dr. Gall is gonna drop the snakes in the arena, and you know, there's nothing he can do. So Snow ends up going back to watch the games, and we cut to the games, and Lucy's been chased into a duck. This doesn't really happen. And then she kills someone with rat poison again, and they just die and cool and whatever. I don't really care about anybody in the games. I cared in the book, but I don't care about them in the film because I haven't really got to know them or know their names or anything.
Nah. None of them now.
I don't even care about the mentors. That's how bad the film did. I don't care about anybody.
Whereas in the book, I was like, oh no, Festus, like, I'm sad that like you're out of the games whenever he inevitably loses. I'm like, dang it, I liked Festus. Clemmy was mean.
They run into the arena. Clemmy's also supposed to show up at some point and rejoin the tributes covered in bandages, and everyone's like, what kind of flu did she have?
I wish they kept that in just so that like Festus from like the corner could just be like, what happened to you?
So they run into the arena, and Dr. Gall drops the snake pit in the arena. Wolvie walks up to touch it, and boom, explosion. And I'm just gonna explain what happens how the games end in the film, and then I want Anka to explain how the games end in the book, because I think in the book is a lot better.
I'll do my best.
Or do you want to explain the film and I'll do the book?
That sounds like a better plan, because I think you have the notes on the book, and I have the notes on the stupidness of the film.
The snake pit fell. Go for it. And then it just exploded. Go for it.
So, I have to give them credit where credit is due. They did make these snakes look less rubbery than the one from before. Yay! Now, I'm colorblind. However, this did not look like a rainbow of destruction. It looked like a sea of green.
Yeah, the colors were very muted. It wasn't like a neon rainbow like it is in the book.
I wanted rainbow. Okay. Right? Like I saw green, like 2 red ones, and maybe a yellow.
Well, maybe. Sorry, the Rainbow the Hippocampi is not in this franchise. He's in the Percy Jackson franchise.
I'm talking colors.
I know. I just wanted to make the joke.
That's fair. I'm talking about something that Truly, it doesn't really impact my life that often. Also, like, a comedian that I love and a podcaster that I love, Adam Mamawala, has a joke about this. But he's just like, colorblindness is unlike any other disability, because, like, you don't walk up to someone else and they're like, prove it. Whereas, like, I'll tell someone I'm colorblind and their first reaction is just, oh, what color is this? It's like, you don't do that to somebody else.
The Lego Harry Potter.
You don't walk up to somebody in a wheelchair and just go, prove you can't stand.
That's a jerk. Just don't be a jerk, everyone. Don't be a jerk. If someone has a disability, don't be a jerk.
Like, yes, they're two drastically different things, but I'm just saying, like, all credit to Adam. He's great.
Explains what happens to the snakes.
In the film, hey, I was mad about colors. I deserve to be mad about colors. What happens with the snakes, ladies and gentlemen, because this is going to take like 3 seconds. Pretty much, the snakes swarm everybody. They kill everybody, except for Lucy Gray, who starts to sing, and the snakes love her, and everyone's like, oh, they love her because of the singing. And then someone, I don't remember who, was like, well, she can't sing forever. And
it was Festus.
Oh, sure. Festus, come on, I liked you.
I know. In the film, he's such an a-hole.
Festus, you have 5 lines. Why do you have to be mean? Like, you were so supportive of Coriolanus earlier. Come on, man. You're better than this. Anyway, so in the film, like, Lucy Gray is like singing, sees the camera, looks directly into the camera, and is like, blah, 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 blah. I don't know what she's singing, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't look up the words for this. She's singing a song. And then, like, they don't want to let her out. Gaul is completely, like, okay with there not being a winner. And she's like, this is revenge for Felix. And then Snow is, like, pleading with her, like, get her out. Like, everyone else is dead. Get her out, get her out, get her out. And then everybody else that's, like, in this, like, weird arena auditorium thing starts to chant, get her out, get her out. It's super dumb. And then Gaul finally gives the okay to let her go.
Okay, so that doesn't happen in the book. So in the book, the snakes drop and they kill most of the tributes and they leave 3 alive. Lucy Gray, Tanner, and Reaper. And it's quite interesting. It's not Coral, who's one of the last to survive. She does die by the snakes. And Tanner ends up going after her. She ends up killing Tanner with a snake. She uses the snake to kill him, which is crazy and cool. And Reaper dies by drinking the poison water that she poisoned earlier. So
there's like a puddle near the tributes. Yeah. And it's the only source of water outside of the water bottles. So she's positive that he's going to drink from it at some point and that she just needs to outlast him.
Because Clemmy won't send Reaper any water because she says he hasn't earned it or deserved it. Clemmy's being very vindictive towards her own tribute the whole time.
Yeah, I don't get this.
I do, kind of, because he did the whole flag thing and I think she's like super capital and like she's like, I make him pay for everything. The thing is, when Lucy sang, it actually put all the snakes to sleep. It doesn't kill everyone, and that's what the difference is. So Lucy actually actively wins the games. She doesn't win the games on accident. She actually kills people in the arena that she means to kill. It's just, it's dumb. It's dumb. I don't know why they changed it. It's just dumb. So they start to celebrate Snow. He's like, let me find Tigress. Yeah, woohoo. And then he gets dragged in front of Dean Highbottom and sees all of the things that is erroneous cheating. And he's like, I told you not to cheat. So they combine the 2 chapters together. So there's 2 chapters that explain. One is they say what his punishment is. And the next chapter, they explain all of the cheating, the meeting with Dean Highbottom.
I don't mind that they combined it. It's like fair enough. You need to finish it off and then start the next chapter. Like, fine.
He said that he would have been arrested, but they convinced him that he can go be a peacekeeper somewhere. By the way, this is a common thing that happens when students get expelled from the academy. This is not like just Snow's fate. This is like a common thing that happens when people get expelled from the academy. I don't know why they had to make it particular just for Snow. Also, he says Snow is falling, which works in the book because they always say snow always rises falls on top.
Snow lands on top.
Snow lands on top, which is said by Tigress and Snow in the book like 80,000 times and is never said in the film to the end of the film.
No, it's said once at the very beginning.
By Tigress?
I think so.
One of her 5 lines?
No, she has 8. Festus has 5.
Oh, one of her 8 lines?
Yeah.
Okay. So Festus got paid for the 5 line and under daily rate?
Yeah.
That's at 550 now, if you have 5 lines or under for dailies.
Fine.
At least in California. So
Sure.
That's the SAG agreement. So part 3 is called The Peacekeepers.
Wait.
So,
there's one thing before we get to part 3 about this scene. So in the film, we only see 2 items, but in the book we're meant to see 3. So we see the compact and the handkerchief. The compact, which had the rat poison in it, the handkerchief, which he sneaks into the snake pit thingamabob. But then the third item, which we don't see in the film, but is actually there in the book, is the capital napkin that he uses to smuggle food to Lucy Gray. Because that is also punishable because he's stealing food from the capital to give to the tributes. And he's stealing food from the academy.
Yeah, so all of this obviously gets him expelled and makes him a peacekeeper. And they know it's his handkerchief because it has his father's initials on it. And Dean Highbottom knows about the compact because he's seen his mother use it so many times. The rat poison was not his idea. That was totally Lucy's idea. But that became a huge sticking point where he got blamed for it. Well, in the film, it was his idea. So moving on. So he shows up at the Peacekeepers and he's like, they're like, you're going to go to 8. He's like, I want to go to 12. And he pays them to go to 12. This is bull because Snow, first of all, doesn't have any money. He has no money. He's not going to be able to pay anyone to go to 12. B, no one wants to go to 12, which is why they're like, oh, you want to go to 12? Go for it.
Okay. See ya.
Like, there's no reason he needed to pay people to go to 12. It's just stupid for stupid's sake. So he ends up going on the train to 12, and who happens to be on the train but Sejanus, who is also on his way to 12.
He doesn't meet Sejanus at 12 until later.
Yeah, also the thing is, Sejanus doesn't get to volunteer for the Peacekeepers. He is forced to go just like Snow.
Yeah.
He is, like, there's no volunteer. He is, like, being forced to be a peacekeeper after what he did. Like, even though they paid for a gym, the Plinth paid for a gym and paid for something for Dr. Gall. He also, because he paid for a gym, he was able to graduate not only Sejanus, but Snow. So both of them have now officially graduated. Snow didn't get to officially graduate in the film, which will become an issue later.
I didn't think about that. Yeah.
No.
Fair point.
So they're going to 12 together. They kind of skip all of these buddies that Snow made, his people he lived with, his bunkmates, which I love those characters. I really dig them.
They're so much fun.
And
they're
not from
cut
Capital.
Out Beanpole.
Beanpole, all of these nicknames that they had.
What did they name Snow?
Was it Snow Beanpole?
No, Snow wasn't Beanpole.
Hold on. I know, like,
I'll look it up. Keep talking.
What's the thing where you hit bullseye? Bullseye was Sejanus' nickname.
Yeah.
Because he's really good at shooting, which also they cut. So here they are. They're hanging out. They're going around. Sejanus and him are trying to become good fighters and all that stuff. And we cut to the executions of somebody right away. There's no waiting. We just cut right to an execution. And they hang the guy, I don't remember, but he has a sister named Nell. And Nell's in the audience going, no, my brother, no. And she then gets arrested. And the crowd gets really sad. And then Sejanus and him have an argument. And we keep going.
And Snow's nickname is Gent.
That's right, because he's a gentleman.
Oh. Yeah.
Because he's a gentleman.
This is also where Snow starts to learn, ladies and gentlemen, what I mentioned a bit last episode and alluded to. But this is when Snow starts to realize that, talking with his new peacekeeping buddies, this is when he puts together that nobody knows who he is, because in the districts, nobody has TVs. So nobody's watching the games. Nobody really knows what he did in the games and the part that he played in the games, because nobody can watch them.
So they cut to the weekend. They're supposed to go out for a concert thing. It's supposed to be their second weekend there because they're not allowed to go out the first weekend. There's supposed to be like a poker game they don't attend, but whatever.
I understand cutting that and moving for the film's sake. One thing that I don't like is that, they go to the Hob and they just kind of stumble across the band by accident, but that's not the case. Like, there is a legitimate plan where the guys come back, they're like, hey, like, there's a band playing, and Snow is like, oh, there's a band playing, and even Sejanus is like, hey, you might see Lucy Gray there, and he's like, I hope so, and they go. They also cut Ma and all of her snacks, which is an important little thing in the book.
Also, they know Lucy Gray's playing because one of the other soldiers says it's Lucy Gray's band before they show up. So they know Lucy Gray's playing.
Oh, sure.
Which, happenstance, they run into each other. I don't like the change. So one of the things I did write is Mary Read looks way too big to be. So I love how little she is in the book.
She's supposed to be context, like 8 or 9.
Yeah, she's
too young to be reaped. She's too young to be reaped.
Exactly. She's like 13 in the film. In the book, she's like 8 or 9. She needs a box to stand up to get to the mic. And I think it's hilarious.
It's fantastic.
But they changed her character a lot. So I don't know why, but they did. So the band's playing. Again, it's a Hollywood music video. Again, I don't like the way they film any of the music in this part. It's really dumb. Snow tries to go talk to her. Billy Tote shows up. He starts a fight. There's a huge fight that breaks out. Snow goes over to Billy and starts punching his lights out. That doesn't happen in the book at all, because if he did that, Billy would probably be dead.
The other thing is that in the book, nobody does anything until the power goes out and it's dark and no one can see anything.
Exactly. So then, also one of the things that happens when they're at the bar is Sejanus is talking to Billy for a bit as well. So some things are happening, and we keep seeing stuff. Snow keeps seeing stuff. He's not liking it. So
yeah,
Snow.
This does happen, ladies and gentlemen, in the book, but it happens like 2 weeks later. Like it takes time.
So then we cut to another scene, and Lucy Gray is singing "Are You," the Hanging Tree from the original film.
Mm-hmm.
The original Mockingjay movie. She's singing "The Hanging Tree," and it's kind of cool that it's a callback. I mean, of course, that song, Katniss did say it was old. It's cool that it goes all the way back to Lucy Gray.
Yeah, and one thing that they don't make it clear in the film, but in the book, it's pretty clear that she wrote The Hanging Tree.
I will also say I believe, and this is something that is supposed to be true, and I wish they put it. I thought it was supposed to be in the book and not in the film, but they said that the pin went back to the original tribute who won. Oh no, not the pin. Sorry, Mary Read is somehow related to Katniss. Suzanne Collins came out and said that.
Mary Read?
Mary Read, the little girl, is Katniss's ancestor.
That's Maud Ivory, my friend.
Sorry, Maud Ivory is Katniss's.
I didn't know if she actively came out and said that, but I know that there's a massive fan theory that says that Maud Ivory is Katniss's paternal grandmother.
Yeah, I heard that was true. So I don't know if that's true, but I want to believe it's true.
Sure.
So they're going to the lake now. Well, after, they talk for a bit and they get all lovey-dovey. They share their first kiss. Yay! And he says, I paid to get to 12. I paid to come for you. And it's such a... I'm sorry, the romance in this film is very, bad compared to like anything in the Mockingjay franchise. I think that like this romance was just, I wasn't interested in it, and it's a lot more interesting in the book. It has a lot more dynamics. So she invites him to the lake the next day. Sejanus is supposed to come to the lake with them, but he doesn't come to the lake for some reason because they forgot to include him in the scene. Because one of the things after the fight, you have to have another soldier with you when you leave the camp. That was a new rule they put in place after the fight, but that rule got explained. So it's fine. So they end up going to the lake.
I thought he was in the scene, just in the background.
Nope. I really looked for him. I was really trying to see him.
Okay, then maybe not.
And this is supposed to be after like the second concert they go to, I believe. Like there's a couple
like the
concerts.
Second or third or something like that. Like
it's a lot longer into
they have days where like they go to the Covey's house and like they see them, they learn about their goat, like all of that. Like they truly become friends with the whole Covey. It's not just him and Lucy Gray. It's not just Snow and Lucy Gray that get all lovey-dovey, but it's like they become friends with everybody in the Covey.
So they start swimming in the lake, which is way too big to be in 12. That lake is also in the Mockingjay movie, but I think it's a lot smaller. It was just weird to me how big that lake was. I mean, obviously lakes transform over time. It was just, I was like, it just felt really out of place.
Sure. And I felt like it could still be the lake in 12. I didn't have as much of an issue with the lake because, like you said, the lake could have dried up a little, like blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I had an issue with something else that we see, but like I'll talk about it later.
So they're laying down on the lakefront and she starts singing the Ballad of Lucy Gray. Now, the Ballad of Lucy Gray is originally sung by Maud Ivory at a concert earlier, and they ask Snow what he thinks of the song, and he's like, he doesn't know how to answer, and he's afraid Lucy will hate him for answering wrongly, but he tries to hide his like true feelings because he doesn't like the song at all. And then they point out the Mockingjays around him, and Snow's like, I've never seen Mockingjays before. Snow detests Mockingjays. At this moment, he does. It's not really explained in the film, but in the book, he doesn't like Mockingjays because they're a corruption of the capital. He really loves the Jabberjays, which are explained by Gull earlier in the book. We didn't really mention it, but Gull does have a scene where she explains the Jabberjays. When he goes and see the snakes, he runs to her. She explains Jabberjays in that scene.
Yeah, it's actually explained to him now by a different doctor. But because like Snow, fine.
Because Snow comes up with a brilliant idea to hunt the Jabberjays and Mockingjays because he hears them.
I mean, brilliant is a stretch, my friend.
Brilliant idea to the capital. That's what I mean.
Okay.
Not brilliant for us. I don't think killing animals is right in any way.
Yeah, look, I don't like pigeons, but like, don't kill them.
Yeah, I know you don't like birds. We had to go around a New Cross because you saw birds in the middle.
Look, no, I don't mind them when they're like, if I'm here and they're like 10 feet away, I don't mind. But I've been hit 3 times in the head or body by a pigeon.
Fair.
I just want them to respect my personal space, and they don't.
So she explains what Mockingjays do. She gets them to sing a bit, and then he hands her the orange scarf from his mother. So he gives her a gift. I think he gives the orange scarf a little later. They're combining a bunch of things right now.
It's much later. It is much later.
Yeah. So he then calls Tiger. He then gets called in to the officer tent and meets with a guy. What was your issue with that scene, though? You said you had an issue with the lake scene before we continue.
No, we'll talk about it later.
Oh, okay. So he then gets pulled in the officer tent. It's
something else that we see, but we haven't seen it yet.
Fair. He gets pulled in the officer tent, and the main officer's like, hey, your aptitude test is amazing. And, he's like, well, I'm the only few who could probably still speak and write English. So
the shade.
Very snarky. And so they're like, we want to make you an officer. We want to put you in officer training.
But also, they don't explain any of this in the film. He doesn't take a test in the film.
They kind of ignore in the film. You have to take a test to become an officer. Like there's an officer test that all of them take to try to become an officer, and he's been studying for it, And if you become an officer, you can be sent to 2, and it's closer to the capital, and all this stuff. And as he's walking around, he calls Tigress, and he's explaining this whole opportunity he's gotten to become an officer. Tigress is like, we were
have an
forced to
issue
move
with
out.
this.
Yeah. Oh, well, he shouldn't be able to call Tigress.
Yeah, it's very clearly stated, because he does go try to call Tigress in the book. And then one of the older guards is like very nice and like explains to him like, hey, you do get a phone call, but you can only get one. It's like one every 6 months or one every like 4 months or something. Like there's an allotment, but also you can't have one until you've had 6 months here.
Yeah. So then we cut to Snow running into Sejanus, who's talking to Nell.
Sejanus. It is Sejanus. How many times do I need to tell you there's not an R in his name?
Sorry, Sejanus, who's talking to Nell, who they arrested. Nell's the little girl, not the little girl. She's the sister of the person they hung when they first got to 12.
He never talks to her in the book.
He doesn't talk to her in the book. Also, at this point in the book, they're supposed to spend a long time rounding up Mockingjays and Jabberjays on his suggestion, which they don't. Of course, we explain that's book only. He then is having a discussion with Sejanus, and he's trying to get Sejanus' plan, and he records him with a Jabberjay. With his own voice, on the recording. Because in the film, he's stupid, and in the book, he's smart.
Again, the film, we have seen, I think in the last 2 films, and ladies and gentlemen, if you know this, Sebastien, you also edit the episode, so like, if you know this off the top of your head as you're editing, let us know how many times we have called somebody smart in one of these films. I think it was once, and it was earlier this episode when Steven said this is the one moment of intelligence that we have seen where Snow was like, oh, the snakes, and had to run to go put the handkerchief in the snake pit.
Yeah, so then he replays the plan, and he doesn't delete it, and so you know that the plan is going to get to Dr. Gall. Or you assume it's going to get to someone in the capital. The Jabberjay has recorded the dialogue. But it hasn't recorded enough of it, though. It doesn't really catch him.
It doesn't catch him. Snow's voice is on it, and like you said, he doesn't speak in the book. The other thing is he actually uses a Jabberjay in the book. In the film, he uses a recording device. It's not a bird.
Oh, no, the bird is underneath. The bird
is next to it.
I thought he was using the Jabberjay to record it. That's what I got, because I think you have to have a remote to make the Jabberjay record.
I don't think you do.
You have to turn it on active mode. Yeah, because so they're on rest mode when they're out in 12. They explain it to him. The lady who actually created them explains it. You have to have a remote to turn them on active mode. So he turns it on active mode to record Sir Janus, and then turns it back to rest mode, so that way he can't get caught for recording him. But that's not really explained in the film.
Sure, yeah. In the film, it didn't look like it was a remote. It looked like he was recording just on a different recording device.
From a film perspective, of course. So we then cut to another Hop concert, and again, I hate the filming of this music in the movie, and she's singing the Ballad of Coriolanus Snow. She wrote a ballad for him, and as the ballad is being sung, he leaves, and I think this is like the perfect moment. I just love it, because Sejanus leaves, and he wants to follow Sejanus, and she's like really affected by him leaving. She's like, where are you going? I'm singing about you and how terrible you are.
No. At that moment, she was singing his praises.
Yeah. So he walks into the green room. Well, the green room that used to be the green room for the band, which is they're using,
which isn't explained in the film.
Which isn't explained in the film, and he sees guns, and he's like, guns, Sejanus? And Sejanus is like, I didn't know they were gonna have guns. And I'm like, in the book, he literally is the one who paid for the guns. Why can't these people read the book? Read the book! It has the whole story. It's really easy. I literally wrote, did anybody read the book? I'm sorry, Sebastian, you're gonna have to bleep that. So then Mayfair's
I don't think they
there
did.
No. So, of course, here comes Lucy Gray walking in with everyone has guns. Yay! And
Okay, that's book accurate.
Billy Toad is like, yeah, that is book accurate, actually. Billy Toad's like, she's with me. Don't kill her, Spruce. Because Spruce is threatening to kill anybody who walks in right now. And
to be fair to Spruce, fair.
He's right. Fair. Then Mayfair, who's in the room for some reason, she walks in and discovers them, first of all. She's already in the room for some reason. She's supposed to sneak
up on them. Like,
yeah.
She's...
And then she threatens all of them. She's going to report them to her dad and get them killed. Book accurate. Then she's running away, and Snow picks up the rifle and bam, shoots her in the back and kills her. Bye, Mayfair. You deserve to die. Actually, using your dad to send somebody in the games, that's messed up. Here we are. He shot Mayfair in the back. Yay! And Billy goes down. Billy's like, how could you? I'm going to kill you. Are you going to hang with me? And Spruce kills Billy. And then Snow takes command. He's like, all right, Lucy, you go back on that stage. You go get that alibi. Spruce, go hide these guns. Go now. Go. And I'm like, why would Spruce take orders from you? You haven't had a discussion. Spruce made the decision to go hide guns himself. Again, Snow is taking responsibility for someone else's choice in the film.
Yes, that is the case. But in the book, right? What's his name?
Spruce?
Spruce. Spruce just looks at them and just goes, well, I don't plan on telling anybody. I'm assuming you don't plan on telling anybody. And they're like, yep. And then he looks at Sejanus, who is losing it. And Snow's like, don't worry. I'll make sure he doesn't tell anybody. And Spruce is just like, cool. I'm going to go hide these. And then just leaves.
I like the book version so much better. It's just so much better. It's cleaner. It's easier. So
it's
Snow
funny.
It's funny? You need funny after death. So Snow and Sejanus both go to their alibi, and then they come home, and it's very freaky. And then they have these orders to go find the guns that killed the mayor's daughter, because the mayor is on a warpath.
Also, they found the bodies that night, not the next morning like they make it seem in the film.
Yeah, and poor Maud. Sorry. I'm forgetting her name again. I do apologize.
Lucy Gray?
No, not Lucy Gray didn't find the bodies. It was
Maud Ivory.
little girl.
Maud Ivory.
Maud Ivory found them, and I feel very bad for Maud Ivory, a little 8-year-old finding 2 dead bodies.
I know, it's terrible.
So Maud Ivory finds the bodies. So the mayor's out for blood. The mayor's then telling all the peacekeepers, find my daughter's killers or else. So here they are, and they're trying to find their killers, trying to find the weapons. They're in the streets, and Snow gets called over by Lucy Gray, and Lucy Gray's like, I'm leaving because the mayor's after me. In the book, it's a lot darker. The mayor literally camps out at her house like daily trying to catch her.
Yeah.
And kill her.
Messed up.
Yes, she does need to leave. This is not questionable. And he's like, okay, we'll leave tomorrow. He goes back to his unit, back to his unit that's walking down the street, and they have Spruce. Now, Spruce is supposed to be dead when they find him because they killed him. Not alive, but whatever. We go to a hanging, and at the hanging, you have Spruce, Nell, and then he says, the guy who's hanging the people, the head commander of 12, goes, I am very disappointed because we have to hang one more person. And
I have problems with this scene. Finish the scene.
He's like, bring him up. And Sejanus is brought up, and he goes, Choreo, help me. And Choreo doesn't move. And then
like a good soldier,
they're dropped with they're in the gallows, and they get killed. And the last thing Sejanus says is ma, 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 and the Mockingjays all go ma, 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 which really affects Coriolanus. Also in the film, I believe they play the recording that caught him, which I'm also like, nobody else heard that but Gaul. That's so stupid. Why would you play that?
Yeah, that's my issue with this, is that they don't announce that Sejanus was cut by Jabberjay, which they do in the film. They just hang him for treason. They just say that it's treason. Mm-hmm. And I didn't catch that they also had the woman there, so I was like, he doesn't get hung with Spruce. He gets hung with the woman. Yeah. I forgot her name, but yeah, like so. But yeah, they don't announce anything other than it's just treason.
Yeah. So Lucy Gray's supposed to be there, and she's
Lucy
supposed
Gray
to
is there.
see. Lucy Gray is there, but she doesn't feel sad for Sejanus's death. Like she has kind of this face of like, and I'm like, what kind of face is that?
Constipation.
I guess for listeners only. She like watch that scene, see the face she makes after Sejanus dies, and you tell me that's a sad face because like she's not. And then Snow
and
goes
if she
away.
was sad, look, I will say this though, it fit the film because if she was sad, it wasn't earned because they haven't shown that they have become friends with the entire covey.
Exactly. So Snow goes back to his place of sleeping, his barracks, and he starts crying. And he's supposed to breaks into Sejanus's things and sees a few things, but he's supposed to like look at all of them. And he's supposed to write letters to people and try to figure everything out. And he says, "Tomorrow I'm leaving." So there's also supposed to be a birthday party, by the way, at some point
for Captain Hoff. They completely cut that. So that's when Lucy Gray actually tells him, "I need to leave."
Yeah. So the next day, they meet at the hanging tree, which she sings a song to tell him that's where they're going to meet. No, he says we're going to meet there because he makes that decision. So they meet at the hanging tree.
No. In the book and the film, she sings the song.
No, but they sing the song over him moving there, but he tells her in the film, "Let's meet at the hanging tree tomorrow." That's what he says.
Oh, does he? Okay.
Yeah.
I missed that.
No,
30 seconds.
That's okay. So he meets her at the hanging tree, and she's supposed to have a wagon, but she has like a bag, and he has a bag, and she has his orange scarf. Okay, whatever. So they're going through the forest, and it starts to rain, and they're like, "We need a break." They also have a conversation about the number of people they've killed and what they want to leave behind. Snow says he's killed 3 people, and she's like, 3 people? Who have you killed? Who's that third person? And he says, "Myself. I've killed myself." It's exactly like the book, and he's supposed to have a splinter and everything. So they go to the
I do have a note in here because in that he's like, and 3 was definitely enough. Like that's the line, and I just go, 3 was definitely not enough.
So they end up going to the lake because it starts to rain, and they go hide in the cabin that's supposed to be there. This cabin is the original cabin from the Hunger Games franchise, the one that Katniss talks about. She has her bow and arrow there. Like, it's a big callback. It's a huge callback.
Yes, this is where I have that issue.
Because the cabin's not in the first scene?
No, because the cabin is so much bigger than it is in the Hunger Games movies. And you have a cabin for reference in those films. I'll give you the lake can shrink. I cannot give you a physical structure of stone can shrink.
They find the guns there that killed, and then they have the conversation. They actually say it out loud. "Oh, now you can hide. Now you cannot be tied to the crimes, Snow." And it's like, well, because Snow thinks that they have to say it and spell it out for the audience because we're dumb, right? Because we're dumb. Yeah. So he holds the guns, and he's like, and she's like, "I'm going to go pick some Katniss. I'm not made of sugar." And he's going to go throw the guns away, and he's like, "Lucy Gray, where are you?" And he goes to find her. And he finds the orange scarf on the ground. He lifts it up, and a snake bites him. And that's where all heck kind of goes loose. He's supposed to hunt her. It's supposed to be very fast-paced. He's firing everywhere. Da-da-da-da-da. That's the book, mind you. In the film, it's the slowest scene I've ever watched. It's the slowest hunting. It is so boring at the end. It was supposed to be their own private Hunger Games. If they just followed the book, that scene could have been 2 minutes. This scene was 7.
Do you want to know the only thing I liked about this scene?
Yeah, go for it.
There was one sole thing, and it was Tom Blythe. Because he went from, like, kind of sad and confused to angry, and he made the switch really well.
I agree. my other problem with why they made this so slow, it's he's been bitten by a snake that he thinks is poisoned or venom. He's like, I need to do this before I die. Of course it's going to be fast paced, not slow.
Yeah. That's the other thing. But like, legitimately, the only thing that I liked about this entire scene was his acting choice there, and like the switch, and like he did play that very, very well.
So she runs by a tree, he shoots her, apparently, and then she disappears, and he surrounded by the Mockingjays, and he shoots and shoots and shoots and hopes she's dead. That's basically the end of Lucy Gray, Bard.
He doesn't see her in the book, does he?
No, not at all. He just shoots in a circle and hopes he hit her.
He sees her in the film.
He sees her in the film. And then he goes and drops all the guns in the lake, and he goes back to his commander, and his commander's like, how's that snake bite holding up? Because, we've skipped in time again. Unclear when he got that looked at. And he's like, by the way, change of plans. You're not going to 2.
Yeah, Hoff doesn't tell him this. He just gets on like the hovercraft or the train or whatever and starts going. Hovercraft, beautiful. And he just starts going, and they make a pit stop at the Capitol, and they're like, all right, you need to get off. And he's like, no, I'm supposed to be going to 2. And they were like, look, we don't know what to tell you. We have instructions to drop you off here, so get off.
He then shows up for Gaul, and Gaul's like, you're going to go to uni. You get the Plinth Prize. You're going to study under me. It's a really exciting moment for him. There's a couple of things they cut out, which I thought were really, really important. So there's an assignment that she gives the whole class about the 3 C's of why the Hunger Games are necessary, and that's gone. But that 3 C's lead him to like understand why the games are necessary. And also, she deleted all copies of this games except for one. So there's one copy of 10th Level Games in her office, and that's the last copy there ever will be. Because she doesn't want, she thinks this games is a failure. She never wants these games to be relived. All of this stuff. And then
I do want to say one thing. Yeah. I'm kind of sad that they cut out Gaul going, did you have a nice summer vacation?
Yeah, she does say that, doesn't she?
and Snow's just really confused, and she's like, well, I mean, like, if you were here the whole summer, what would you have been doing? Nothing. But now you've gotten to learn things about the enemy.
Yeah.
And she was like, there was never a plan to, like, have you, be there for 20 years, but, like, you couldn't just stick around the whole summer and not do anything. I needed you to learn.
She then asked him about what the games are for. And he says in the film, to remind us who we really are, the victor. That's not the truth in the books. In the books, he says it's about control. He says the war is continuing. Every Hunger Games is a mini war. And it's to remind the districts that this war is not over. They started it, and we will continue it until they are punished. And I'm like, that's a lot more terrifying and a lot more dark, and it makes a lot more sense than we're the victor. This movie, I swear.
No.
Then we cut to a scene of him in his new outfit in his place of living. Yay. And Tigress says he looks like... Tigress has one more line. Her eighth line, everyone. Tigress says, you look like your father. And that hits. But it doesn't hit as hard as it does in the film. It hits a lot harder in the book. Because in the book, he's always trying to be more like his mother. Which isn't really explained in the film at all. But he ends up like his father. It's his monkey's paw, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Then he cuts to Dean Highbottom's office. This is in the epilogue, by the way. And he drops off of Sejanus's effects on his desk with some morphling. And Casca tells him the story about his father and Gaul, and how Gaul ended up with the games, and how he was drunk, and his father turned it in anyway.
That's true
what
to the
broke
book.
Their friendship. And he then adds something which isn't in the book at all. He says, I wonder what happened to Lucy Gray. It's a mystery, and mysteries drive people mad. And I'm like, okay, are we just really going to just slam this home now? Can we stop? Can we let people think for once?
Yeah. Like, they didn't need that line.
And then Snow says, after they reveal he has the Plinth Fortune now, he's the heir to Plinth Fortune, he says, Snows always land on top. And that's when he leaves High Bottom.
Mm-hmm.
High Bottom then drinks the morphine, and it turns out it has rat poison in it. The rat poison that was used in the arena. And he dies in his chair. Then he walks in the middle of Pan Am, middle of the capital, and it ends with a shot of Snow, the future of Pan Am, the president. And then we hear from the last film, Snow's voice from, I'm forgetting the actor's name. I really like him, though. It's the things we love that most destroys us. Read by Snow's
It's
old
the things
voice.
we love most that destroy us.
Sorry, I wrote it correctly and read it wrong. It's the things we love most that destroys us. It's from the old Snow's quote. I wrote it correctly and read it wrong. Words are hard, everyone. Words are hard.
That happens.
And it's an old
it's
Snow
Donald
quote.
Sutherland.
Yeah,
is
Donald
the
Sutherland.
original Snow.
Voice comes back in, and it is kind of haunting. I really love the end. Obviously, he said that line to Katniss Everdeen, and I really enjoy them kind of bringing that voice back in. It's a good ending. I like the ending. I think they did the epilogue pretty well, other than the whole it's a mystery what happened to her. No one cares what happened to Lucy Gray. That's the end. And just so you know, there's this whole thing about who Snow will marry. Snow marries the girl who Dad ate the bodies, his neighbor, who was also in his class, I believe.
I think
he'll never
that
love
is
her.
Right. Yeah.
Because he'll never love her, and that's the thing. He never wants to love again.
Effie Snow is his wife's name.
Yeah, what was her last name before that? Yeah.
I am trying to figure that out.
That's okay. That's where the book ends, though, and that's where the film ends. So that is the
We're
end
finally done. Oh my
of the
goodness.
Hunger Games franchise. Well, we're almost done, Ankit. We need to rate this film and book and adaptation.
Right.
So, on a scale of 1 through 10, let's rate the book. I would give this book an 8.5. A bit long-winded. I think it could have been split into 2 books, but enjoyable.
I think an 8. Because I really enjoyed it. I really did enjoy this book. But in the middle, I found myself not caring as much. It kind of felt like there was a dip, and then it picked back up. It was kind of like, for me, the dip happened like, I don't know, like chapter 7 to like 8, 7 to 9 or something like that. Like there was a dip, and then it picked back up. So yeah.
Scale of 1 to 10, rate this as just a film, not an adaptation, just a film.
Probably like a 6.5.
I was going to say the same thing. 7, 6.5, 7.
6.5.
It's okay.
I feel like the critics got it right. Like, it's enjoyable if you didn't read the book. It's fun. It's very fun if you didn't read the book. I just feel like it tells you too much. It doesn't let you sit in the unknown. Doesn't let you, as the audience, learn and piece together the puzzle.
Okay. Now, the most important part, our favorite part. Rate this film as an adaptation of the book. I'm going to give it
4.
I was going to say 4.1.
No. 4.
Just a 4.
Just a 4.
No, yeah, this what they tried to do is rush through every single idea of the book and then add their own ideas, which contradicted the book in every way.
And they changed timelines so much
that contradict the storytelling. Like, it makes no... My friends who went to go see the film with me originally, they told me they hated the film. They were like, it's just nothing. There's nothing to it. And the book to me has so much interest to it, intrigue, that it sucks that the film sucks out all that intrigue.
Yeah.
from the book. So, yeah, that's the end of the Hunger Games franchise. If you follow us on Patreon, we are going to be uploading a tier list where we go through every Hunger Games film, every Hunger Games movie, and we tier list them. So we have the best and the
books.
worst. The books are... I said books and films together.
No, you said films and movies.
Oh, did I? Yeah. I'm tired, everyone. I woke up at 5 a.m. to a cat meowing at me to wake him up and feed him. To wake me up and feed him. No, he tried to wake me up.
Words are hard, ladies and gentlemen. Words are hard.
No, but I really appreciate it. Ankit and I have obviously been through 10 films now of Hunger Games. We're ready to move on.
Let's go.
Here's a hint for next week. Here's Stephen.
I mean, we can just tell them next week we're talking about The Shining. Next week, we are starting to talk about The Shining as an adaptation, looking at the Stephen King novel and Stanley Kubrick's film version of it. That's the version, because apparently there is also like a miniseries and everything. We are looking at the 1980 film. And for anyone that is interested, I have never seen The Shining, so over on Post Finale, which is another show that's hosted by me, and then I have some guests on. It's a journey of me watching films for the first time. You can go over there to listen to my thoughts of The Shining for the first time. What do I think? Because I've never seen the film either. So the whole month of May over on Post Finale is all about The Shining, and our 2 episodes for The Shining here on Flip the Scripts are lining up with episode 2 and episode 3 over on Post Finale. So be sure to check that out as well. But until we start talking
Seattle Across the Pond can't be about The Shining because it's about sports. But we do appreciate Co-op Forge being about The Shining in May.
Yeah! We'll figure out. Eric and I will figure something out. We'll try to incorporate it in some way, shape, or form. I don't know how yet. A little bit. But like we'll sprinkle it in. We'll see what we can do. That guy
hit the ball like Johnny did.
He rode that tricycle well, or bicycle. Like, I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna figure it out. But until we talk about The Shining next week, thank you all so much for listening, and we will see you all later.
Bye now.
Hello, and thank you so much for listening to this episode of Flip the Scripts. Flip the Scripts is created, hosted, and produced by Ankit Madhira and Stephen Nieman. Our editor is Sebastian Hollich, the art is by Kshitija Madhira, and the music is by Sebastian Hollich. If you like the video, you can click to listen to the next part, or if it's not out yet, you can find one of our previous episodes.
Or if you want to check out some of our other content, here's a fun video from another one of our shows.
Don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, comment, and hit that bell icon to get notified of all of our content when it releases.
Subscribe to our Patreon if you want bonus content.
Links to all of our social media and Patreon are in the episode description down below.
Thank you for supporting our content. Come back next week for more shenanigans from Co-op Forge.
New episodes for Flip the Scripts release every Friday, Seattle Across the Pond every other Thursday, and Post Finale every Wednesday. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you soon.
Bye now.